Hey y'all, it's Coach in the Fight here. Looking online at something I discovered a couple of days ago doing a class on prayer, and that's pseudepigrapha.com. Now I have the pseudepigrapha on my shelf. There's 2 volumes to them. They're very, very thick books. There's a lot into it. But I wanted to show you guys if this is, has all of the books in it, then this website should have a wealth of information. I want to share it with you guys. Pseudepigrapha.com. This is my first time taking a look at it. So what I want to do is just go down and look at some of the titles. Now we're familiar with the Old Testament and the New Testament, but let's see. It says the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Now these are the Book of the Mormons, the Doctrine of the Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. So these would be the books that the Latter-day Saints have decided, make up, the text for their teachings, and a lot of other groups have done so too. It's like they grab certain scripture and say, okay, this is what we believe, and they hoard them for themselves. And what's odd is when a person like me grabs a Mormon Bible, which may have some truth in it, and start reading it, somebody else say, hey, you a Mormon now? Like, no, just because I read the Quran, I'm not a Muslim, and I read a lot of stuff, I don't make. But the pseudepigrapha, okay, now it says these are works. Let's see. Like I said, this is my first time looking at it. I'm not sure what this is. Pestis Sophia. I'm not sure at all what that is. I haven't even heard of that. Maybe we can read a whole new book. But here's it's got it in here with Josephus. Now we know Josephus, wasn't recognized as a prophet. He was only recognized as a historian. But now the book of Jasher, it is scriptural text. That's where we find out stuff like, how, people who talk about the Israelites being superheroes. Well, this is where they get a lot of that from, out of the book of Jasher, because it talks about a lot of the powerful things they did that seem supernatural to us today. And there's a lot more information in there. Let me do something right quick. There's a lot of people who don't have faith in these books. They're like, hey, if it didn't make it in the 66 books, then it must not be real. Well, if that were true, then why would he list them, right? So we put in Jasher, and what we find is that the book of Jasher is listed a couple of times. Right there in Joshua, they talk about the book of Jasher. And then over here in Samuel, they talk about the book of Jasher. So, and you say, well, what happened to the book? Well, it talks too much about the supernatural for the Catholic people who canonized the books. You got to understand, it was the Catholics who put that collection of 66 books together. It was not God, unless you consider the Pope God. God had really nothing to do with it, except he did inspire so that there are certain books in there. But no, it was compiled by man. Those books were compiled by man, and decided not to keep Jasher in there, and other books too. Legends of the Jews, story of I read this story here. This is a nice little short story, like a wisdom story. It's a wisdom story. All right, now I guess this is where the actual pseudepigrapha starts. See right here, because those other books, like I said, they didn't look familiar with the pseudepigrapha, but these do. There's books of Adam and Eve, the book of Adam and Eve, the life of Adam and Eve. There's 2 parts. Look like there are 3 parts, but I think there's only 2 parts to it. This one up here may be the whole thing, and these down here might be the 1 and 2 parts that you find in books like the Lost Books of the Bible. No, it's in the Forgotten Books of Eden. Then you have the Apocalypse of Adam. Now, this is what a lot of the hidden documents consist of, is other people's apocalypses. These people who, were allowed to go into the vision world and write into the spirit world and write down their visions. Well, you get stuff like the Apocalypse of Adam, right? Now, the Book of Adam, I think I've read that. I would have read that, but I can't remember what's in it. The Book of Adam. Yeah, I might have to open. Let's click and see what's in it. We got the pseudepigrapha.com. Praise the Lord. It doesn't have all of that other, information in it, like where the translation came from, whether or not we believe it's real or not. Save us all of that. Just let us read it for ourselves, and we can decide. We have discernment. We know the voice of God. I don't care what it is you put in front of me. I can tell you if it's inspired writing or not. Let's see what this says. It came to pass when Adam went out from paradise with his wife Eve. They went out at the eastern part of paradise, and Adam made a hut to live in. They both entered and resided there for 7 days. They both wept with abundant tears, for they regretted the residences of the kingdom from which they had been expelled. And yeah, one verse I can already tell you that, yeah, this is consistent with everything else that I've read. And I have no doubts that this is going to be inspired writing. But let's go on. You have the treatise of the great Seth. Remember Seth was the, for lack of better phrase, Seth replaced Abel, right? He was Abel's replacement. Then you have books like Enoch, right? There's 3 books of Enoch in there, but you know, this makes it look like there's 4 in there, and there may not be 4 in there. I don't think there's actually 4 in there. There's only really 3 books of Enoch that are known by the name Enoch. We know he wrote 366 books, but apparently other of them has different names. We don't know what they are. You know, some of them may go on the Metatron and that kind of thing. Melchizedek, we hear about him in the New Testament. You say the order of priests by the order of Melchizedek. How about the book of Abraham? These are all books, guys, that people take it out. Look at the titles. I'm not going to click on all of their books, but look at the titles of these things. Revelation of Moses. How would you like to read the Revelations of Moses? Remember, Moses, you know, is promised to be one of the spirits that, you know, comes back. Enoch and Moses, you know, I think they're really close to being the same person. If not, you know, but we know because it says Enoch and Elijah, and then it says Moses and Elijah. So you know, the way I learned math, you know, what is it? The mathematical law of association. Enoch and Moses may be very likely be the same people, or the same spirit at least. Martyrdom of Isaiah, Ascension of Isaiah. These are some serious books here. All right. There's a lot more in it. There's a lot more in the Pseudepigrapha than these books right here. But let's see what else is on here. Okay, now this is the Old Testament Apocrypha, right? The Old Testament Apocrypha has, you know, a lot of books in it too. Now, books that you may have. Now this right here, this Bel and the Dragon, this is actually the 13th chapter of the book of Daniel. It's like they truncated the book of Daniel. Why? Because, you know, he's talking about Bel and the Dragon, and that makes it even as far-fetched as the book of Daniel is, this one chapter here was a little bit unbelievable. So they took it out of the whole book. Then you have like Tobit. I think Tobit was wisdom stuff. You have additional Psalms that they took out. Let's look at Psalms with 151. See what it is. Psalms 51.1. My hand made a harp, my fingers fashioned a lyre, and who will declare it to my Lord? The Lord himself, it is he who hears. It was he who sent his messenger and took me from my father's sheep and anointed me with his anointing oil. My brothers were handsome and tall, but the Lord was not pleased with them. I went out to meet the Philistines, and he cursed me by his idols, I drew his own sword, and beheaded him and removed reproach from the people of Israel. No hints to why they took that one out. You know, it looks like it's missing a verse or something, but I don't know. Why would they say it wasn't in there? Well, let me look over here in my book here and see. Psalms 151. I don't even know if there's a Psalms with the 151 in here, but we're gonna see. Psalms 119, 148. Don't look like there is a 151. Matter of fact, there is not. So that would be the one that came after 150. Psalm stops on 150 here. Psalms from 151. But let's go on. We're looking at the Pseudepigrapha and some of these hidden documents here. And like I said, we're on pseudepigrapha.com. Feel free to go over there and look at it. But notice you have Wisdom of Solomon, Wisdom of Sirach. My wife loves that Wisdom of Sirach. It's a wisdom book like Proverbs that has a lot of additional information in it. I would argue that it probably has more wisdom information in it than Proverbs. That's why they took it out. Look at the Maccabees up there. Now this is a serious book to understand the times that we live in now, because we're about to enter a similar Maccabean period where people are going to be forced to do things that the Bible says we aren't supposed to do. They're going to force it. They're going to try to force it on people. Same as they did those brothers back then. Now here you got the New Testament Apocrypha. Now most people haven't heard of the New Testament Apocrypha at all. When people think of the Apocrypha, they're only really talking about the old Apocrypha. But there's a new one too that has, you know, books written by Paul, written by, you know, Stephen, Thomas. There's a Gospel of Thomas. You can look at some of this stuff. Apocryphon of James. These are very, you know, very sophisticated books. I hesitate to say so, but I have said it at least once, and I'll say it again. The 66 books that we're used to in the Old Testament and the New Testament seem to be beginner level books. It's like the books of higher learning, like, you know, they were, you know, kept away. And And here are some of them here. Now, some of these I haven't read at all. I don't even remember it. The sentences. Now I remember that sentences of sex text. So I read most of it. I haven't read all of the pseudepigrapha yet. It is a very big book, right? But these are what's in the New Testament Apocrypha. Don't look like they have all of them in there. But then you have right here the lost books of the Bible. Now, the lost books of the Bible, forgotten books of Eden. This is the books that I was first introduced to the Apocrypha writing. If you know anything about my testimony, I was, ministering, reading the Bible out loud in D.C. when a person said, "Hey, you don't know nothing about the Scripture. You ain't never even heard of the lost books of the Bible." And me being completely green said, "Nope, they don't exist." But, praise the Lord, I went to the library and they gave me this book. This is the one I sat down and read right here. I opened this book. At that point, I had never read any scriptural document except for the 66 books. I did not believe they existed. I did not, didn't have no faith in them. But I went to the library. I said, "Where is the lost books of the Bible?" She gave it to me. I sat down. I opened it up to the book of Mary. I read the whole book of Mary. And once I had finished reading, and I'm putting it up here because you can pause and see what it says. But once I had finished reading the book of Mary, having read the Old Testament and the New Testament, 3 times, back to back, consecutively, nonstop, I read this book and I was thoroughly convinced that it was the inspired word of God. I checked the book out, read it in 8 days, started over and read it again. And then I started searching for the other books of the Bible, some of these other ones that we talk about here. But there's the birth of Mary. There's the proto-evangelism of Mary. You want to know what the Messiah did when he was a child? All of that stuff is in here. Infancy gospel. Where was he at? Before the age of 12, what was he doing? This one, the infancy gospel of Thomas. Infancy compilation. So there's a lot about his childhood. A lot about the Messiah's childhood. It don't fill in all of the blanks, but it fills in a lot of them. Then you have the epistle of Jesus Christ. Right? The gospel of Nicodemus. You didn't know the Nicodemus wrote a gospel, did you? Yeah, he did. Letters of Herod and Pilate. So these are letters. Remember, those were governors. Herod was a Hebrew. Pilate, I think, was a Greek. But, they wrote letters to one another, and we have those letters here where they were saying, "Hey, I think we made a mistake in killing this dude. I think he might have actually been God." But you notice, a lot of the stuff in here. These are lost books, forgotten books. These are books that the Catholic Church decided we didn't need. Let me repeat that again. The Catholic Church decided that we didn't need these books. They decided we didn't need the Gospel of Philip. We didn't need the Gospel of Thomas. Now, that's one you should look up on YouTube. That Gospel of Thomas. And I made a mess here, ain't I? What in the world did I do? The Gospel of Thomas, because it's one you want to listen to. Sure, you want to read it, for yourself, but, listen to it first, then read it. The Gospel of Bartholomew. There's a lot of stuff they're hidden in these books. Excerpts from the Gospel of Mary. Now, that one's a little deep right there, boy. Mary went to hell, and she wrote down what she saw down there. It was some interesting stuff. So it doesn't look like it's it doesn't have all of the books of the pseudepigrapha in it. I mean, that book, that thing has a lot of scriptural text in it, and this doesn't show a lot of them. It doesn't show most of them. But hey, look, wow, it even has the Quran on here. And let's see. Yeah, I haven't read any of this. I haven't read a lot of this. The Book of Breathings. Oh, that's an Egyptian book. Now I have heard of the Book of the Dead. That's where Pharaoh came from. Pharaoh was the god of the dead, and so they got the Book of the Dead. So it's all right. All right, so I just want to show that to you. Just want to make a quick class of what we hear. Looking at the pseudepigrapha, looking at some of these. I just want to give you a source to let you know, where you can find all of these documents at. So have fun, guys. Jumping in, see what's going on. That's all I got. Godspeed. Hermes Academy. Power, patience, continence, and faith. We teach virtue.